And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Rogue Actions, of course, with me, Ram Bam, and Shawka. How you doing, Shawka, my man?
Doing good, man. Wonderful weekend, as always. Nice and refreshing. I got an in-service day today, so I don't have to deal with kids. That makes it even better. Woo!
Lucky. I still have to go to work.
I mean, I'm at work. Just, I'm bored. That's all. That's the difference.
So the kids keep you company.
Well, the difference is that in an in-service day, I get to listen to people that don't know anything about teaching tell me how to teach. And none of it applies to me because I teach music. So it's just kind of a dumb, useless day. But
free pay?
I mean, I wouldn't call it free pay. I'm there. I'm still there. But it's at least, you know, a little less taxing, I'll say. A little less taxing.
Got it. Well, hopefully you guys' days are as least stressful as Shawka's apparently is, where he's not having to deal with kids. Hopefully you guys' days are going good. Your Mondays are starting out your week pretty strong. Like the channel, hit the subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. Go over to Shawka's channel. You know the drill. Part 1 over here, part 2 over on Shawka's. So it's going to be a fun time. We got a lot to talk about.
We do.
Of course, starting with the meme of the week. All right. So Valkorian is this week's meme of the week winner. Shout out to Valkorian for the submission. If you guys would like to get your memes put in on Rogue Actions, me and Shawka vote for it every single week. Put in your meme on my Discord under Rogue Actions memes, and me and Shawka will vote for it. So we saw this one. I was just like, this makes sense, especially with all the crazy stuff that we have going on in the game. This makes sense because 3v3 is going on right now. We're handed all these crazy weird datacrons, and what more to do with all that dangerous stuff to do is just point at your face. It makes a whole lot of sense.
I love the way old Ben is looking at him while this is happening too. He's like, yep, this is definitely the prodigy of the guy that tried to jump over top of me when I had the high ground. This checks out.
I almost look at this as like, okay, yes, that absolutely. How did I get stuck with this job of training the guy of the son of the guy that tried to jump over me in lava? But also, I get the feeling in his eyes, just, I'm not paid enough for this shit. Which, I mean, if you know the little details about Sir Alec Guinness, it's probably a little bit more accurate.
Indeed.
So I always love those little inserts there. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I'm not good with words. We all know this by now. So, Shawka, we were wrong.
Yeah.
And like, not just wrong. We were way off last week.
Oh, yeah.
Way off. That is not. There we go. That is my music, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you just saw my music. All right. So, Shin Hati's kit came out coincidentally on the same day that we released Rogue Actions. And in that Rogue Actions, obviously from last week, we were talking about the speculation of her kit and what we thought that each thing was going to do and what it should do, what it could do, what it could theorize. Yeah, no. Not a single part was correct at all.
I think that just confirms, A, we don't have inside information, and B, yep, you could definitely rely on us to not leak inside information.
Yes. So, CG, if you ever want to reach out, we're your guys, because we don't know crap about anything, apparently.
We can mislead the community.
Yes.
Well, what's that phrase that Ruin Johnson always likes to say? So we'll subvert the audience's expectations, guys.
Oh, God, no, don't. Why did you have to do? There's only one thing that I hate more than Shawka refusing to work with Inquisitors. it's any sort of thing to do with The Last Jedi. Just stop. Oh my God. All right. So Shin's Kit came out, and there's a lot of stuff in here, Soldier of Fortune and whatnot, that I don't think gets the use of it right now. But when Merrick and ultimately Balin comes out, it will bring her into a true powerhouse. So you don't really see a whole lot from her currently with a TW Ami. There is a lot of critical chance stuff in here, which, as Shawka has said, is it's a good thing. Instead of just being raw speed, raw power, raw offense, you use some of these other abilities, these other stats that you don't really see a whole lot of characters use. And I think CG's starting to kind of go that route. Like they're starting to emphasize a little bit more on defense, starting to emphasize a little bit more on critical chance, starting to emphasize a little bit more on you've seen accuracy make some appearances recently. So
yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, crit avoidance. All these little stats on mods that we all hate, that we never really focus on, these characters are starting to rely on those stats a little bit more. So
I think it's interesting. So obviously, within her kit, critical everything is very, very important for her. Crit avoidance, crit damage, or not so much crit damage. Crit damage is there, but it's more about landing the crits that's more important than the damage itself. I think it's interesting that kind of coincides. You can clearly see the development in CG, like there are meetings that they've had and sitting down and discussing things because of what they're releasing right now. So in the raid, for instance, obviously crit chance is super important for the mall team that you run in the raid currently.
Right.
And clearly this is kind of the same idea in terms of her kit design. The thing that we don't know about at the moment, we obviously can see that there are elements of accuracy in her kit. What worries me is, why would we have all that accuracy? My concern is, and hopefully it's the first scenario. So there's kind of two scenarios I envision. A, her accuracy just becomes so insanely high that like foresight doesn't work. Because if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, let me know in the comments, guys, if I'm wrong on this. So for instance, with the Enoch team and their crit avoidance, literally the other team could have advantage and they still won't land a crit, because advantage does not guarantee a crit. The actual coding is it gives it like 100,000% chance of crit, something like that, something astronomically high number. But Enoch's kit actually outdoes that crit percent that you get an advantage. So you actually can avoid crits even though they have advantage. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a similar thing here with foresight, where even if the opposing team has foresight, she actually still will hit them through foresight because of the fact that her accuracy is so insanely high. That's scenario one. I'm hoping that's the scenario that we're going to have. Or the one that I don't want to see is that you see other teams and or Datacrons that have so much dodge percentage that accuracy becomes beneficial. I don't want to see that, because that's just a horrible mechanic in the game. No one wants to see that CG. Please make it so that it's just able to hit through foresight, because it's such an astronomically high number. I don't know. That's something I thought was interesting, and like, why is accuracy an important part of this in particular? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Ram, at all?
No, I completely agree. Sadly, I think we both know CG at this point. So I think we can kind of assume where the path they might be going down is. But I hope that is not the case, because the last thing we want is, what was it, set 4 again of Datacrons? Please no.
I
think it was like set 4. Please no. Just no. Just there's no. Just no. I don't even have any words for that. Just no. I'm like Shawka with Inquisitors. Just no.
Yeah, just no. So question for you regarding Soldier of Fortune. So you said you're going for Balin, correct?
Yeah. I definitely I'm gonna go for Balin, but the problem is I'm still gonna have to slow roll it, because I'm not whaling, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna have to slow roll it, but I will probably get Balin before I get Ahsoka.
Right. Okay. So my question here is, so with Soldier of Fortune, so we kind of talked about the crit aspects of her kit and the accuracy kits part of her kits. We didn't really talk a whole lot about Soldier of Fortune. So that obviously is what is making her as good as she is.
Right.
But the idea that her stacks are based off of her relic levels, are you going to entertain the idea of taking her all the way to relic 9 so she almost has a guaranteed 10 stacks to start with? Or do you think it's not worth that? Kind of like Jar Jar, for instance, with the bonus relic levels. Are you into that? Or are you going to say, nah, 7 and that's it?
I mean, an argument could definitely be made. I think at this point, any sort of attacker that comes out, it's almost a guaranteed relic 8 minimum at this point. You know, it's just, I mean, what attacker has come out that you have not wanted to have them have that massive amount of damage output?
Right.
What's his damn name? The guy that throws the rocks. That guy.
Oh, Malicos.
Malicos. There we go. See? Bad with names. Bad with words. Malicos. Guaranteed relic 8 minimum. Right? He just has to be, right? So, same thing with Jedi Cal Kestis. Same thing with Jedi Knight Luke. Like, it just... So, I think for Shin Hati, having that little extra 1 stack probably would help give her an argument for relic 9.
Right.
We'll see if... You know, we'll have to see how her interaction is going to be with the rest of the team, because like I said, we're only at 33% of this team right now, right?
Correct. That is true.
And then so you have that 33% with Balin, 33% with Merrick, 33% with Shin, and then that 1 little percent with insert every other mercenary in there, because those two, you're not really going to care, I don't think, who falls in that team. As long as you have those 3, I think is kind of the path that we're assuming is going to be walked down. So if it turns out that she has all these great interactions with the rest of the team, then I think, you could definitely justify a relic 9 on her. And I'll
be intrigued to see. So obviously there's the core 3. I'm intrigued to see if they're going to do an event like they did with Pal and Master Qui-Gon. An assault battle, if you will, that it would obviously be a mercenary assault battle, but I would assume that they would kind of code it in the way that only that core 3 actually works for you at the high levels. I would like to see that, because then, especially if they do that, then it's a little bit more incentive to take all 3 of them, the relic 9, for instance.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if that's coming or not, guys. To be clear, that's pure speculation. But I think it'd be a nice little bonus, if you will.
I mean, it'd give you an incentive to want to wail on these guys for sure, because those assault battles do give you nice little rewards out of, Zetas, Kairos, relic materials. So
relic materials, especially.
Yeah. So there's effort there worthwhile. And it's always nice to see something kind of new. Again, Shawka doesn't care about Inquisitors, but they brought out the Inquisitor assault battle when Inquisitors were a thing. So, he misses out on those every single time.
Pretty much. I'm tempted to not even do the sim buttons on it, to be honest with you.
Jesus.
But
dude, your hatred for Inquisitors it's way up there, dude.
It's significant. Yeah.
Like, I hate Rose, but I just don't use Rose. That's one character. Man, just a whole faction. Screw it.
Yep.
Now, so looking at her kit, so these Soldier of Fortune obviously has multiple effects. I mean, and we don't even talk about the Territorial Wars Omicron. That's just looks nasty. Just with the Soldier of Fortune stacks itself, 20 stacks, all mercenary allies revived. 35 stacks, Shin Hati increases cooldowns of light side target enemy to their max value, and they did clarify.
Yeah, that's huge.
What that means. So, like BB-8 doing his little roll,
70.
His max cooldown of that is 70. So she'll just increase the cooldown to the max of that, which is just insane.
Yeah, that's killer.
That's just for TW Ami. But the regular Clean Escape has effects based on Shin Hati's number of stacks of Soldier of Fortune. 10 stacks, she dispels debuffs, gain 30% max health and until the end of the encounter. Tank allies or non-tank allies gain stealth. She dispels buffs at 20 stacks on target enemy, gain crit hit immunity and health steal up, and inflict defense down on all enemies. And then at 35 stacks, they gain the foresight offense up. And then she removes 100% turn meter and dazes all enemies, which can't be resisted. That just looks brutal in and of itself. You know, just imagine Shin's taking a turn, you're getting ready to take all your team turns, and then all of a sudden, 100% turn meter removed, gone.
Yeah.
And it can't be resisted, so it's not a tenacity check or anything. It's just you just lose all your turn meter. Ouch.
So we talked about this before recording, and one of the things I love about her kit is nothing to do with her actual kit. It's the cost of the kit. It's one Zeta and one Omicron. Like,
yes,
I miss these days. CG, can we stop getting the whole 2 Zetas, 3 Omicrons on every freaking character? Like, come on. Like, this is refreshing to have a character that does not have an insane amount of ability costs. Like, they either need to open up the gates a little bit more on Zetas and Omicrons, or they need to scale back the number of these required on all of these new characters, because it's become the new, the gate, so to speak. It used to be, carbs and all that jazz, and now it's the abilities and / signal data.
Yeah.
But I'm finding the abilities more difficult than the signal data personally.
Yeah. No, anytime that we can get somebody that follows the KISS method, the keep it simple, stupid method, I like it. Right? You keep it just one Omicron, one Zeta, maybe. Sometimes you don't even get that. Sometimes you just get a character that has just Zeta, and you're just like, this is great. Very limited reading, very limited, and it has a good bit of interaction with the rest of the team. So it's not the breakout character per se, but it's impactful enough without the Omicron still. So I don't know. I like that, but sadly, I think Balin is still going to have 3 Amis, 2 Zetas. I think he's going to be there. Merrick, I could see. I don't know if Merrick would have an Ami. I think Balin, we've already confirmed he's going to have GAC Amis. Shin has TW. Merrick, maybe TB if they had to go.
He's either going to be TB or Conquest, one of the two. It'll be some PvE.
No more
content.
Conquest. Why? Or what was those damn weekly battles that we do? Conquest battles? Assault battles? No.
Oh, Galactic
challenges. Oh god, yeah. Just stay away from those. Do a TB Ami if you have to do one, I guess. It's awful.
I would rather have a Conquest than a Galactic Challenge. The Galactic Challenge ones are stupid. They need to abandon that, which I think they have. I think they got that message loud and clear. But I think Conquest ones will still continue because, so us that are late game, we don't need them as much because we've got a lot of different teams and a lot of different characters that we can kind of pull from. Right. But if somebody made a comment on this in one of my videos, and it was a really good point. If you are new to the game and like currently, for instance, you're going for Queen Amidala and Pal in them, that Conquest cron for Pal is massively important for you in Conquest because you don't have the roster to be able to get those feats. If that's your singular good team, you can get a ton of feats with it. So for early game players, even mid game to some degree, I would argue, those Omicrons are actually very, very good. Versus late game, like we don't care about them as much. But yeah, there is definitely value in the Conquest crons for early to mid game players, without a doubt.
That's an interesting point. I like that.
Yeah. When he pointed that out to me, I forget who it was off the top of my head. Shout out to whoever that was, guys. But I was like, that's a really, really good point. I had not thought of that. So yeah, it kind of gave me a whole new perspective on the Conquest crons.
Okay. All right. Well, let us know down in the comments below what you guys think about Shin Hati. Were you expecting what we were saying last week to actually happen? And if so, shame on you. You should never do that, right? just don't take us at our word, right? Are you excited about Shin Hati's kit? Do you think that it should have been done differently? Are you pleased? Do you see any use for her right now? Or are you just waiting for the pieces to come out with Merrick and Balin to see her final product? Let us know down in the comments below. Alrighty, so we had some interesting news drop as well in the data mines on Swiggo Events. Shout out to Sig and those guys over at Swiggo Events. They found something called a Hologames Festival, Hologames Fest. I don't really know what to really make of this, so it's not really. We just kind of wanted to put the information out there and let you guys know about it, but it's not really. We don't have a whole lot, so we expect there's going to be in the next few weeks something dribbling down, telling us more details about this. But things like it has a mystery chest. Starts October 3rd, runs for 2 weeks. Web store, you get free stuff in there. You get a calendar, contains Zetas, Amis. You can have 330 shards of Anakin and Vader, 25 shards of a Gungan. It appears to be limited. They don't know really how you can get it at this time. There's obviously also crystal packs. And then the mystery chest has Night Trooper, Death Trooper, Peridia, Morgan, Enoch, and Great Mother. So you get free shards of the newest marquees that have been released, which I think is never really a bad thing. But again, most of this stuff, it looks like it's probably going to be web store. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to be brought out in the game specifically. But the web store, if you partake in that, which you should, get free stuff out of it. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Shawka?
I mean, I'm never mad about free stuff, I guess, if that makes sense. And I think from a business standpoint, I think it's a good move on CG to do things like this. It gets people engaged in the community. You know, it feels like they're giving things back. Like when they did the Lightspeed bundle giveaways and stuff like that. Like, I think that kind of stuff's always a good thing. There's never any negative to it. So I'm all for this. I think for me, I think the most disappointing part of this at this point is the bonus drops. I think we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I do like the idea of them, you know, running this event. I am intrigued to know more about it. So for those of you that don't know, so CG did put out a post just kind of acknowledging that this was a thing, that this event was coming. And then the data mine that we have here is telling us some more details, but there's still a lot left open for interpretation in this. But one thing is very clear from this, guys. If you want to get the benefit of a lot of this stuff, you need to get on that web store.
Yeah.
And to be clear, not the PC client, guys, because like I make this mistake a lot, or not a mistake. I just am guilty of this, I should say, where I go on to my PC client, I do my stuff on the PC client for the day, and I don't go to the web store. Like it's just kind of, I'm like, oh yeah, it's on the PC, I'm done, and I forget to go to the web store and get my free stuff. So just want to point that out for those of you that are listening and maybe only on your phones. It looks like there's going to be some nice stuff here, but you're definitely going to want to get on the web store to get it, especially in particular if you're going for either Balin or Ahsoka because of those new character drops, with shards and stuff. That's definitely going to be very beneficial.
Absolutely. Which actually, I mean, so Morgan just got released on Cantina Farm, which I was not expecting as well, because she absolutely slaps. I was using her in Conquest at Gear 11 3 stars with Night Sisters, and it's just I wasn't able to really get kills with her, but I could tell that when you get her up to a high enough level, she's going to be wrecking things. And that's just with your regular old Night Sisters. So, you know, pairing her with Great Mothers and Death Trooper and Night Trooper, I can imagine the nastiness that she's going to bring to the table. So I was expecting somewhat of her caliber to kind of be on a hard no, whether it was Fleet or whether it was, you know, light side, dark side. I was not expecting Cantina. So I'm happy for that because that's usually an easier farm.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's intentional. So she's going to be the easiest one to farm of the Balin requirements. So put her on the easiest node to farm, if that makes sense. And then you maximize your value by putting the last ones on the most difficult ones to get.
That's fair.
Whaling.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. All right. And so with these Hologames Festival, they also have a data mine for bonus drops, as Shawka mentioned previously. So bonus drops is going to go from 925 to 927, so just about 2 or 3 days worth of bonus drops. And then it's going to give you Cal Kestis shards, Nine Sister shards. So Shawka, there's no reason for you not to have Nine Sister. Fulcrum, and then Seer Junda on light side battles. And then once you complete and you have all those at 7 stars, or if you already have them at 7 stars, then you'll get Kairos, Zetas, and Omegas instead of those character shards. Now, you said you were disappointed by this, Shawka?
Yeah, so I think back to when Leia came out and they did all of they called them additive drops, I believe is what it was, the term, where we could get like Drogon and Nisa and Krex and all of them through these bonus drops. Like I was able to get Krex all the way up to 7 stars very quickly with that. I got Nisa fully unlocked before the event. Basically the only character that can get it fully done was Drogon, and I think that was a intentional decision on my part, because at that point I had realized I was not going to go for Leia, so I don't think I chased him quite as hard. But like those events were hugely important for anyone that intended on going hard on Leia. So I was expecting this to be kind of the same idea for either Ahsoka or Baylan. And dropping character shards, and it's not. This is just UFU characters, and basically, for most people out there, they're going to be getting the Kairos, the Zetas, and Omegas. Now, if the Omegas were Omicrons, I'd be a little bit more excited about this, but they're not. Like, especially because here's my thing. So and again, I'm a bit more of a late game player. We're farming Kairos pretty well at this point through TB, so the Kairos are not a huge incentive for me. I always am open for Kairos. I'm not mad about it, but outside of the Zetas, this isn't that great. And the last time we had one of these events where you got bonus Zetas, the drop rate was absolutely horrendous. Like horrendous. I think I got a total of like 3 Zeta mats after dropping like 200 crystal refreshes during the entirety of the event. That's all I got. Like it was like, if it again 0 times anything is still 0. So I wanted character shard drops. We didn't get the character shard drops, and then we didn't get Omicrons either if they're going to go for the abilities and the Kairos. And then to top it off, if they're going to do the same thing they did last time where we get a horrendous drop rate on the Zetas, then what's the point in this? Like it's I don't know. I'm a little salty from the last time they did this. Maybe they won't. Maybe my RNG will be better this time, but I just it's not. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's always bonus good stuff is always a good thing. I'm just not
salty.
Satisfied. Oh yeah, just a little salty.
So yeah, I mean, bonus drops are never a bad thing because it's always something that we don't currently have. So extra stuff is always good, but something's to be said about the fact that 3 or 4 of these characters, because you see it sometimes too, this is all for an UFU team, right? The only missing piece is really Malicos here. These 4 other characters you kind of see in a normal UFU team, plug and play with Night Sister, of course. You can mix and match her, but Fulcrum, Seer, and Cal are kind of the mainstays with Malicos. So it kind of makes me wonder what's coming down, because at first I thought, well, maybe mercenaries, but I don't think Night Sister is a mercenary. I don't even think Fulcrum is a mercenary. Seer and Cal, I think, are, no, Jedi Knight Cal is so it's not mercenaries either. So I don't know where they're going with the UFUs.
I think this is just an homage to the fact that Ahsoka is going to be an UFU GL. And like that's pretty much confirmed. I forget which kit it is. One of the kits that was a recent drop, maybe it's Shin's, says something about a non-galactic legend UFU character, which there is no galactic legend UFU character currently.
Right.
So clearly Ahsoka is going to be an UFU GL.
Right.
But I think that's what this is. I think this is, an allusion to the idea that there's going to be an UFU GL, an UFU team coming out with the Spectre tag and all that jazz. So I talked about how this is a little, disappointing. And you brought up a good point. The Ninth Sister one, if that was Malicos, then I'd be a little more open to this, because a lot of people don't have Malicos because he's a conquest character. If they threw that in there at least, okay, that's a little bit, that's not bad for especially early game, mid game players. That's a character that's worth chasing, that's hard to get. But it's Ninth Sister. Who wants Ninth Sister? No one. Absolutely no one. Hey,
Directions.
Also, joke's on you, sir. I already have her at 7 stars. So.
Do you have her at Relics?
Heck no.
Oh, well then, there you go.
I don't need her at Relics because I don't use her. But I do have her at 7 stars. I have all of them at 7 stars. I don't know why that happened. I think it's because I farmed them up before I realized how much I hated them. Because they didn't shove it down my throat that hard yet. Anyway.
Jesus. Oh, man. All right. Party's not over, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go over to Shawka's channel and do part 2, where he's going to discuss more about his love for Inquisitors and Datacrons as well. So be sure to follow us over there. Links down in the description below. We'll see you over there. And until next time, Squadron dismissed.